Kitchen talk, conversations that cook. Kitchen talk, conversations that cook. What you want to talk about? Kitchen talk, conversations that cook. Kitchen talk, Lisa, Lope, JT, and friends. Kitchen talk, conversations that cook. Kitchen talk, conversations that cook. What you want to talk about? Kitchen talk, conversations that cook. Kitchen talk, Lisa, Lope, JT, and friends.
Lisa, Lorraine, JT, and friends. Y'all ready to cook up some conversation? Come on.
Kitchen talk.
Let's talk.
Y'all like my theme song?
I love your theme song. I'm over here like kitchen talk. Yeah. I love the robot.
Hey, y'all.
What's good?
How y'all doing?
We here?
Right?
I know. So first off, let me say thank you. Mwah! I love y'all for hanging out with me on New Year's Eve.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for having me.
I didn't want to speak for you. I didn't want to speak for you.
So this is Kitchen Talk, CTC, Conversations That Cook. It is the holiday season, so the guys have the night off. But you know what? I was feeling like the kitchen talk should continue. So I invited two of my friend girls all the way from Seattle, Washington. So while it's 9 o'clock our time, they just getting started at 6. Their time. I'm so happy. So this is Sharon, Nyree, Willams. I would not have survived Seattle University or Seattle, Washington without her. I just know I wouldn't have been able to do it. I just wouldn't have been able to do it. And also I have Nina Yarbrough, my Nina Pina, who we were in the same class, not in the same cohort. I don't know why they separated us. But anyway.
Because of that right there. They knew.
But we graduated from Seattle University together in 2016, Nina.
I know.
Dang,
2016.
Says the woman who graduated from what, 2008?
2019. I don't know what you're talking about.
No.
Yeah. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
So I also got the opportunity to work with Sharon at Central District Forum for Arts and Ideas. It's an amazing organization. Sharon, tell us a little bit about it.
You know I'm off work, right?
I do, but you know what? As an executive director, you are never off.
I don't know what book you've been reading. That's the old book. We don't need to but real talk. I love talking about CD Forum. Just joking with y'all. Central District Forum was founded over 21 years ago by a beautiful Black woman named Stephanie Ellis Smith. And I've had the pleasure of running it for 8 years, I want to say. And Nina's been with me for 3 years as my business development manager and person that always gets me in trouble. And we present and produce and help develop Black artists and bringing the Black experience to Seattle. And the reason why we do this work is to break down stereotypes and let people know that Blackness is not a monolith. We do multi-genre programming, and from theater to dance to music, we do it all. We do not discriminate. And yeah, that's what we've been doing.
And it was definitely wonderful to be a part of that process, a part of that organization, especially in a place where it was tough finding my community. I will say that it was tough finding my community in Seattle. And I think maybe a little tougher for me because I'm a little bit older, just a little bit older than Nina. So just a little.
What you talking about?
Just a tiny bit.
Just a tiny bit. But you know, when you at a certain space in your life, sometimes it's a little harder to change and adapt. And so I was having a tough time, you know, being from Florida all the way across the way. But you guys, I mean, y'all like made it bearable, made it easy, made me thrive, not just survive in it. So I always appreciate that. I appreciate the friendships. We do not talk every day. As a matter of fact, we probably don't even talk once a month. But when we do, it's like just pick up, you know, it's just pick up. And so that was one of the reasons I was like, you know what? These the girlfriends that need to come and do the girlfriend check-in. So we do have one comment from Sandra. Hey, Sandra.
What's up, Sandra?
Happy New Year to you.
Yeah.
You know what? This is the really amazing part about connections. Sandra watches Kitchen Talk faithfully and she comments, she joins the conversation, and you guys watch too. But it's like, who knew? You know, you know, who knew going over to Seattle would bring me all of these new people in my life that would stay, you know, because it wasn't like I just left y'all there and, you know, that's it. But we all still stay connected. That's what I love about how we do things. So that's so great. So Nina, what you got going on?
Other than staying fired up and festive, I actually, you know what? I think I started a new tradition for myself today. I went on a New Year's walk with two of my friends and my friend's puppy today. It was Annie and Maris, Sharon. And we just went on this, like, we started at Top Pot, which is a donut shop here in Seattle near my apartment. We got our little treats and they took me on, because it was my friend Annie who she hikes mountains and she seriously encounters billy goats when she's out there. And I'm just like, Annie, please don't die. But we hiked all over Capitol Hill and it was really nice, because it's that kind of gray Seattle day where it was it rained yesterday and today it was just it feels like it's gonna rain, but it never did. And it was in the 40s, 50s, and we just walked and talked and it just felt, so that's why I was just because I took a big girl nap afterwards. So it felt really nice to that's how I bring in to start the new year off. I started with friends, being outside, and I get to hang out with y'all. So
yay!
It was nice. I'm gonna have to do. I want to make sure I do that again because it just puts you in the right mindset to be with good people, be active and just enjoying just something simple like a walk. And I got to be with the puppy. It was so cute, so cute.
Real talk. If you wasn't in Seattle, do you think you'd be walking as much as you walk now?
Oh no! I'm from Ohio. We drive. We do not walk. What do
you will? And the crazy part is, I didn't do that much walking outside of Seattle, but in Seattle, I would live close to campus, and I I worked on campus, so I did walk to class and walk, more than I ever would have, especially in Tallahassee. I probably live 5 minutes away from work right now. Will I walk to my office? No, ma'am. I get in the car and drive to campus, and get in the car and drive home.
Well, that's
I'm not gonna walk.
I walk so, and now what's even current, I moved here from Cincinnati, Ohio, for people who don't know. And Cincinnati's not is not as hilly as Seattle, but I'm from the hood. You walked around your neighborhood. You didn't walk between neighborhoods. If somebody caught you walking between neighborhoods, they'd be like, "Sweetie, are you okay?" Like you ride, like, but here I will walk from my apartment to a neighborhood called Westlake, which is where like a lot of like Amazon and stuff are, like, to go to stores. When I first got, I would never have thought to do that, but it's once you do it, it's easier and I feel better. And I mean, it's what hanging out with white people will get you. Like, I will be honest. Like, they got me walking, and I'm not mad at it.
Tell the truth.
Her
I
next
hang out with a lot of white people.
She'll be a vegan next.
Hush. I am. Shut up.
There's
So
nothing
Nina,
wrong
I
with a
don't
vegan,
know.
but
I don't know if I ever asked you this. I know Sharon and I talked about what brought her to Seattle and why she stayed, but why did you stay?
Like, honestly, it's because the connections of the program landed me a job. Like, I came to Seattle with the idea, because I talked to, I worked at a museum center, and we only had like maybe 5 Black people who weren't in food service that worked in the museums. Like, is that, because Cincinnati is that kind of place. And I was fortunate, one of our outgoing VPs, who was a Black woman who like she was a doctor, she was a poet, which I didn't know until like towards the end of her being there. And I talked to her and she was like, look, if you go get a master's degree, you'll have an experience and can always come home. So my plan was always like, if it didn't work out, I'd just go back to Ohio and at least I would have like, I did the thing. But it kind of like, it grew on me. I got my job at the opera. Like, we graduated in June and I started working at the opera full time in April. So like the benefits of the program started working for me. And like Sharon was the first place that I did my internship with. So like I had that connection that was here. And honestly, it was because I was able to get a job and I started building a community. And I was like, might as well.
I was on the first thing smoking. My ticket was already planned. I'm like, walk across the stage. All right, let's go. I remember being in our I guess it would be called like a senior defense. I can't even remember the name of the project, but I remember one of the what were they, our like mentors or program, whatever they were called. And she was like, Lisa, will you stay? Are you gonna stay? I was like, no, ma'am. She asked me that in the senior defense. I was like, nope, I'm out. She was like, but we need you. I was like, nope, deuces.
I remember asking you that too. I was just like, because you were very clear whenever it would pop up.
That's
you would be like, I'm going back to Florida.
To stay.
Sharon's been here for like 30 years, so Sharon, what kept you here?
You know what? The shade in this room is kind of dark.
Okay, not 30, but 25.
20, man. I put the 20. 20 years. 20. Stop. Don't put no more numbers on there. 20 years. 21 in June.
Oh my goodness. 21 in June?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I moved out. That's the only way I can keep up with it, because I moved out in an even year, 2000. Yeah, I remember that.
So, guys, what in this year, this crazy year that we've had, what are you most optimistic about for 2021?
Who I will be, who I'm becoming. This year has challenged me to really think about why I do what I do, why I wake up in the morning. I was fortunate to go to a church years ago, like early 2001, 2002, something like that, to where we talked about purpose, and I locked in to my purpose and helping Black voices be heard and telling stories. And I've been locked into that for like 18, 19 years right now. But then through COVID, I've been like, okay, I've achieved a bunch of different things. And, but now I'm still asking, like, what does it feel to get up in the morning and actually know if you're happy about getting up and what you do? Why am I happy? Who am I? And then most recently, what do you do after you feel as though you achieve some of your purpose? And so what's the next phase of that? And how do you move? And so that's what I've been going through in the last few months of just really getting to know myself. And so that's what I'm more excited about than anything, of who I will be in 2021 because of this experience.
Yeah, I would agree with that sentiment around what I'm optimistic about. And lately I've had like a little bit of trouble asking, because everybody will have the check-in question, right? Like, how you been? And I low-key, I'm been like, I've been thriving. So should I keep that to myself? like and it's, you feel bad because, like, yes, we all have had to deal with a lot of stuff during this year, like internationally, locally, like with the civil uprisings, like, and I live in Capitol Hill here in Seattle. So a lot of the protests are literally on the other side of my apartment. Like, they were marching up and down my street. The CHOP, or Chaz, if people have read about it in the news or saw it, is like 2 blocks away from me. So like, I've been in the center of that, like feeling the isolation, but at the same like, I have felt very fortunate that I have been surrounding myself over the past few years with really great people. And she also got a therapist towards the beginning of the year, like before everything went. And I had already been on this path to like, of honestly just working through my own stuff. And so luckily all of that happened, and then COVID hit. So it's not like I was like just left on my own and to deal with it, if that makes sense. So I feel like I have and right now, a lot of women in my life who are older, like women in like their 50s and 60s, who are giving me lessons that when I hear them talk about it, they're like, these are things I wish I had learned when I was your age. And because of all of the pressures of COVID-19, lessons that I should be learning, I think within like the next like 5 years, 10 years, are all kind of happening in one. And it's like, this is gonna sound real bougie, but like the time it takes to make a diamond, right, is usually millions of years, because it's all under this pressure and heat. But like, all of us are experiencing that same pressure and heat over the lifetime of a diamond, right, is really, really short, but we're either going to become coal or diamonds at the end of it. And I don't know, I feel like a tiara right now. Like, you know what I mean?
Yo, you keep doing this, but
It's a hair flip. It's like,
I'm like, when did she start doing this like all the time?
you know?
But it's cute. I see you cute.
It's something new. It's something new.
So what about you, Lisa?
I guess oh, my mommy just said hi, guys. Hi, mommy.
Look at that picture.
I know, ain't she cute? She's so cute.
I love your mama.
She is a mess too, child. I guess I kind of hear you, Nina, when you said I'm doing well, but can I say that when it's so much, number one, is so much death going on? Like, is it okay for you to say, oh, I'm thankful I'm alive? And it's so much, I don't want to say it's so much poverty, because I think poverty has been the same. We just see it more clearly, and it's more in our face than it has been in previous years, or we were able to ignore it. And it's so much hardship and so much this, but how do you celebrate what is happening with you? Like, for me, I was on 9-month contracts. So after graduation, I've been pretty much on 9-month contracts teaching, or another contract for this, working with a grant or this. But during COVID, I actually got a permanent job. Like, so I'm not like, on the 9-month contracts anymore. I have a full, full time, just the whole big old thing of it. And like, how do you say woohoo when somebody can't work? Like, so what is the middle ground of feeling that, but also being able to celebrate what is going on with you? And I even talked to a friend and she was like, God has been blessing me through this, but is it okay for me to say that? So it's a lot of, I think we are in more of a battle of mental and emotional things more so than we are, at least for me, more so than I am tangible or physical things. Like, I have a job, I'm able to eat. But y'all know I love people, right? So this whole thing of you can't have no party, you can't have no friends, you can't, I don't get to touch people, I don't get to talk to people, I don't get to hug nobody. I'm like, this is driving me crazy. So I guess I'm optimistic about when I'm gonna be able to do that again.
Okay, that's fair.
And so that's what I'm kind of holding on to. I know we won't go back to what we consider normal, and I don't like the new normal word either. But I do think that I will appreciate and not take for granted a hug anymore.
That's
Oh
what-
yeah.
In Seattle, how you appreciated the sun when the sun comes out, right? You'd be like, the sun is out, y'all. I mean, it's just we have this thing in our culture, and in our how we move socially, that if somebody else is sad or if the community is sad, then everybody's sad, right? And we just gravitate towards that. And so, like, when you start going back, even after the holidays, right, we're going to go back to our Zoom meetings come Monday, and every meeting is going to basically start off, woo, thank God 2020 is over. And everybody's going to say that, right? And you're like, really? Can we get something else? Can we bring a different energy into it? And it's just like when we were doing the meetings before tonight, right? Everybody was coming in and they'd come and they'd be like, how are you doing? The time is so hard right now. How are you feeling? You're like, I'm an introvert. I'm good. But I did think about my friend who just lost somebody. Okay, that has me sad. But it's everybody, and it's up to us as individuals to be strong enough to bring our entire selves to whatever we do, and being truthful about, like, I'm good. I have good days. I have bad days. Today I'm good. Yesterday I was bad. Tomorrow I don't know how the hell I'll be. But it's just like please don't allow yourself to go in the thing of, I have to feel bad because everybody else is feeling bad.
Yeah. I get that. And it actually, this time kind of reminds me, I think about my time in Seattle a lot during this pandemic, because I felt at times isolated living there. And so my mind flashes back to those two years, and feeling lonely at times or whatever. But I think what gets me through, other than prayer and God, is just holding on to the hope that it's not going to be like this forever. I think that's what's, but also, I know we're not, well, also there's a tad bit of anxiety of, what is it going to look like?
Yeah. It's funny that, Sharon, you mentioned the like, we're talking about the Seattle thing and the weather thing, right? And for people who don't live here or have not experienced it, when sunshine comes out even a little bit, like people, they want to take advantage of it. But it's funny. One of the concepts that I've been, and I had heard about it before, but I didn't really get it. And I'm gonna have to get it because I have to read the thing. Bear with me because Sharon's gonna roll her eyes. I already know. But there is this concept called Hygge. And it's like shush. Okay. So it's a Norwegian Nordic concept because they live in places in the world that are usually colder and darker most of the time, but statistically rated some of the happiest, healthiest people in the world. Right. And it's like, how can you live in a place where you don't typically get as much sunshine as the rest of the world? But when you look at quality of life, overall health, like relationships, happiness, all that sort of stuff, typically continually rank in the top. And so my roommate clipped out this article for me because this concept of Hygge is this idea of like continual coziness. And basically what it means is like, regardless of what is happening outside, if you prepare yourself well, there should be nothing that keeps you from doing life as it should be. And so I feel like I've been leaning into that a lot, especially now, because last year, 2 years ago, I am not an outdoors person when the sun stopped shining at like 4 o'clock in Seattle. I'm like, oh, There's no sun, bye. But this year, like I finally bought, I've been here like 6 years and I bought like a Seattle proof coat for the first time. And it's like, it is wind resistant, it is waterproof, snowproof, and insulated. And what that means is like, there's no reason why I can't get out of my comfort zone, meaning my very cozy apartment, because I am always floored by how like changing your environment is like a cliche, but changing your environment a little bit, how much it can drastically help. So even for me, one of my survival tactics when we had to do Zoom after Zoom after Zoom, and it took me a long time. It's like when I reach a point where I can't, I will literally leave and go for like a walk. And Sharon used to have me do that in the office when I would spiral. She'd be like, you need to leave. And I would take a walk around the office. But here's more of a necessity, and realizing other people live their lives like that. Like they don't let the fact that, oh, it's gloomy. So what? You can't be cooped up in your apartment. Like you can still I've built stronger relationships with people during this time than I think before, for sure. And that's, again, it's not to negate the hardships that people have gone through, to say that my time has been sunshiny, because like I had panic attacks for the first time in my life. Could have done without that. I'm like, didn't need to experience that nonsense. But to your point about being optimistic around it, like there was another side to it. And it's when you cannot see a future without the thing now is when I think you can get yourself into a hole of like just despair and true darkness, is when you can't see any form of a future that doesn't include, because it's always a moment. Like we're always just living in a moment. And I think our small brains, it's very hard for us to notice like this is a moment because it feels hard.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true. Sandra has a question. What do you want to carry forward into the new year? We are looking forward to change, but what positive aspects do you want to keep? If none, that's cool too. Good question. Good question. Okay, so for me, I don't know. I mean, because I feel like, okay, so I'm not gonna say I haven't learned anything. Because I'm learning all kind of stuff. Like we've had to make changes to how we do church. We've had to make changes to how we teach. We had to make changes to how we do our jobs. I think all of that, just those new skills that we learned, I would definitely carry forward. How we do kitchen talk. I'm grateful that I didn't have to just, shut kitchen talk down and wait till we could shoot a show again. So we'll carry that forward. But that might be it for me. Cause I really want to go back to normal.
I would agree with you, Lisa, like that I did the new skills and stuff. But one thing, like I've been prioritizing, and not in a selfish way, because I feel like we can get, especially as Black women too, we get these traps of like, if you put yourself first, you're being selfish or narcissistic. But I've been putting a lot of work into me, and it only benefits those around me, right? Like if I'm working on myself and I can become the best person, then I can be of service to others. But that has meant going for my walks. That has meant scheduling time for my crafts. That has meant intentionally, like really getting back into cooking for myself. And like saying that I'm important enough to do those things has been one of my bigger lessons of the year. Because it would be once like with vaccine, all that sort of stuff, when it becomes very easy to not put yourself at the center of your work, because the world comes in and wants to take from you. I think especially as Black women, like the world is set up to take from us all the time. But it's been nice putting myself like, I don't know if I could go back to not being first. Am I like
but you find you're more productive, you're more engaged when you have had your time. Because I find that I am learning that, Nina. So for what I'm carrying forward to 2021 is I'm going to create space for me, and all the stuff that I have on my plate, try to prioritize that a little bit better so that I create a space for Lisa instead of just because a lot of times when we're using our gifts and our talents, we just feel like, okay, well, I'm using my gifts and my talents, that's fine, but I'm not necessarily using them for me. But I'm helping, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm over this, I'm over that, I'm in charge of this, I'm in charge of that. And the work is getting done. But me, where am I decreasing? So that, and then once I decrease and decrease and decrease and decrease, I don't have nothing else to give. And so that, like you said, that puts everything else in jeopardy. All the jobs that I do have. If I don't have the ideas, if I don't have the strength, if I don't have the rest that I need. So yeah, that's one thing that I have purpose in my heart to create space for me. What about you, Sharon?
Wow, y'all all said some really good stuff. Me and a friend just started a group, a check-in with each other called Us First. And so I'm looking forward to exploring that. I'm looking forward to using the things that I've learned about myself. So one of the things that I learned about myself is that I always try to fix things, situations, people's situations, and I don't take the time to stop because my brain works kind of fast when it comes to problem solving and helping people work through stuff. And so I talked to my therapist about a month ago, and I was like, I think I'm a fixer, and I'm always trying to fix something. So if somebody says, "Hey, Sharon," and I say, "How you doing?" They're like, "Well, I'm not feeling good." I'm like, "Okay, so what's going on? Like, what did you have? What did that?" I'm like instantly like trying to solve the problem. And so really trying to step back, and it's hard. It's hard to step back and listen, because I'm a good listener, but to listen and then say, so do you want a response from me? Do you want to know what I'm really thinking, or did you want me to just listen? And I've done it a couple times so far, and whew, that was hard because as they're telling me, I have these ideas in my head. And so really trying to slow myself down and trying to be this so-called fixer that I'm not. And really just trying to take forward with me everything that y'all are saying around being true to myself, working on my sleep, working on who I am and where I'm going and why I'm doing what I'm doing, my creativity, my work, everything that I do, just trying to move all that forward and being more appreciative of what I do have and my time. I the way I spend my time is going to change. I love commuting. I used to love commuting. Now I'm like, do I have to go? Can I just come home? If I can, then I'm not coming. Because I actually like my condo. I like where I live and I can get work done here too. So the way I spend my time is definitely something that I'm gonna be more conscious of moving forward. You're not going to find me or my staff in the office 40 hours a week. Not that we're not working 40 hours. We just won't be in the office 40 hours. And we've always had that freedom, but we've always felt this need that we had to go to the office. That's how we was raised, right? We got to go to the office.
You got to go to work.
It's work. And I think it was Nina last year before COVID even started would be like, I'm going to the coffee shop because I want to work on this project, or I'm gonna go home because I want to work on, I'm gonna go to the library because I want to work on that. And yeah, so I don't think we're not going to see that. Our office is going to be a touch point, but it's not going to be the end all be all to get all of our work done.
So my mommy said how we celebrate family together. That's what she's carrying forward, which I think during this pandemic, we have like for real made intentional moves of still coming together, be it Zoom or whatever. But it's like anything happen with anybody, we gathering, whether it's a phone call, whether it's this, whether it's that. I think that is true, that we have definitely been more intentional and not taking family for granted and not taking a lot of stuff that we have done in our past for granted because we just always knew we would be able to do it, you know? Always knew I'd be able to go to, you know, whatever restaurant I want to go to and sit down and have my favorite meal. And I can't do that. I'm like, what is that?
Yeah, I'm thinking that too. Shopping once a month.
I know. It's like, you know, one thing I am going to be glad to give up, though, I ain't going to lie, is these masks. Oh, I know I'm going to be stuck with them for another little while. But, oh, my God, I think I'm going to have a mask burning party. When I don't have to wear them no more. I still get out the car and forget and have to walk back to the car.
You got to get the kind that you can put around your neck. I love that kind because you just slide it down and slide it back up.
I don't want that. I don't want the ones I got where you gotta put them on. I'm not finna walk around with something around my neck like that.
Well, I wear collars, so I'm good.
I also like the kind that you can, and it's funny you say it because we talk about like what you mentioned earlier, Lisa, like the anxiety around what is it gonna look like, because we just don't know, right? Like, because the last time anybody experienced something even like this was 1918, right? And I heard about an interview that somebody did with a man who's like in his hundreds now, but he was like a really young kid when the first flu came around, the Spanish flu. And I'm very curious to see what we're all gonna be like when we are like older folks, because we're gonna pick up some interesting habits and like just our response to situations is gonna change. And I don't necessarily know, like, I think at least in the US, because wearing masks is so common in other countries, just as a safety precaution, like if you don't think you're doing well, put a mask on. Because again, it's not about you, it's about protecting somebody else. And I will be curious to see, like, I think there will be this like you groups of folks who are just like, never again, if I don't have to, I'm not. And then I think there's going to be another group where it's like, well, I get to wear my mask and I don't have to worry about other people's bit. Like, I think we're going to start to see, like, you're going to have your Urban Outfitters mask sections. Like,
already have it, right? We already have it.
It's going to be, I think the change, right, that we had to experience during this time too was companies making people work when they sick. And you're like, yo, you need to go home. Like companies were sending people home real quick. What? Bye. Yeah. Goodbye. Yeah. So I like that aspect, because sometimes you be getting in there and you be like, yo, I don't feel like, but you don't want to be one that call out, and then they gotta see you suffer before they send you home. But now I'm trusting that people are doing well and they can affect your whole organization. Like COVID helped us see that it can really affect the whole organization,
right?
Versus when they don't pay attention to the flu, right? When somebody get the flu, then you realize somebody else get the flu, and then somebody else get the flu, but nobody really paid attention to that. It took a COVID to where you have to put on a mask and you can be in the hospital, ventilator, for them to send you home.
Yeah. I think a number of years ago, when because that flu strain gets worse and worse every year. I remember working for the state, and people would come and they would be sniffling really bad or coughing or whatever, and we'd be like, you need to take that on to the house, because even the flu would just like keep you down for a week, and nobody wanted that. I remember I had a student early part of January, and I was like, if you do not stop coming to class, because I don't want that. Stop coming to class. It's going to be all right. Stop coming to class. I will let you make up the work. You're going to get me sick. Stop coming to class.
You said that just like that, too. I did.
I was like, you're going to give me some cooties. I don't want no cooties. Stop coming to class.
But shouldn't that also be your choice too? Shouldn't you have the right to be like, I don't want to get sick, stay home?
Yes.
And the part that has killed me, like, is so there have been those people that are like, well, let's just all get sick. And it's just like, if we do that, a good chunk of us will be okay, but some will die. And the fact that there are people in this country that's like, well, that's acceptable for me. Like the loss of human life is just acceptable because I'm inconvenienced. And it's just, so you don't care about my life. So when you talk about, oh, you're a Christian and you talk about that, like you believe in the word of God, all that sort of stuff. Oh, you only believe that up until like you don't feel inconvenienced.
Right.
Like, can we all just stay together? We just got to stay home for a little bit.
I mean, you not like your house that much?
I'm like, please stay home. Yeah. Okay, y'all.
What's up?
We talked, and I have to leave to go to church.
Hallelujah.
So, but before I go, so what I haven't said all night is that Sharon is a storyteller. She doesn't call herself a poet. She is a storyteller. And there is one piece that I would like for her to do. This is one of my favorite pieces that I make her do whenever I'm around. So Sharon, would you give us that? And then we're going to wrap this thing up so I can take my 20-minute drive to my church.
Hallelujah. Yes. And I want to make it clear that Nina's a storyteller. Lisa's a storyteller. And all of us are storytellers.
Yeah, we're definitely creative. Yeah, that's right. Nina is a playwright, and she writes stories too, right? Poetry. Yeah, and I am a playwright, producer, director, all of that jazz. We're just creative people, and I think that's another reason we connected so well.
Y'all looking at 3 Black women that have masters in fine arts and arts leadership all together, cackling it up. What? No doubt. But anyway, let me read this piece so you can get to church because I ain't gonna have that on my conscience. This is called "I'm Black" and it's on my poetry album CD called "Shook." I've been thinking about being a Black woman in today's society. I don't know what it means to be a Black woman in today's society. I don't know what it means to be a white woman, an Asian woman, an indigenous woman, a Latino woman, a Mexican woman, a Filipino woman, an Ethiopian woman. So why must you call me a woman of color? Why not acknowledge my Blackness for what it stands for? It's a culture that if you're not in my skin, that you would never know what it feels like. Respect my culture. Don't lump me with everyone else. And don't disregard the richness of who they are by not acknowledging their heritage. I am so sorry that you want us to have this alliance. But what is an alliance if it doesn't truly acknowledge who I am and what my ancestors fought for the rights for me to have? The right to no longer to be called a slave, a colored, Negro, nigger, African American. Look at my color and know from this point on that I am 200% Black. Black from the inside out, from the Black from the inside out, from the outside in. This woman in front of you is Black. So don't transpose colored to person of color. Because by saying person of color, you instantly tell me that you don't see me and you don't see the Asian, the indigenous, the Latino, the Mexican, the Filipino, the Ethiopian woman's cultures. Respect us as a group. And if we must come together as a group, then call us cultural. No, wait, hell, ask us what we want to be called. But I refuse to allow you to continue to dictate what I will be called or how I shall refer to myself. I am a Black woman. I prefer and demand that you call me Black woman because African American, Negro, colored, nigger, I am Black and I am proud. Period.
That is my piece right there. Yes, ma'am. And that's how we gonna rock this out. I am Black. Period. I love it. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I love you. I love you. I love you. Okay, we're gonna definitely have to do this again. I will kick the guys off again and bring you guys back.
Next time, Lisa, Nina will be doing a piece from her book that's coming out in 2021.
Yay! Oh, I'm so excited.
We just got to get it printed.
I'm so excited. I definitely am getting a copy. So let me know where I can get it. I'm still waiting on my Team Sharon t-shirt. I just thought I'd put that out there.
Nina, what's your web? How people get in contact with you?
Yeah.
You can find me at ninayarbrough.com. I'm on the social. I've been taking a break from social media. Also something I want to continue through the new year, doing that in moderation. But I'm on all my social handles, Nina with a Y. That's NINAWITHY because I'm hilarious.
I love it. I love it. Sharon, how they see you?
SharonNWilliams.com. And I am Sharon Nyree Williams on all platforms except for Twitter. I'm at Ambitious SNW.
Love it. Love it. So, guys, if you are watching us from YouTube, please hit that subscribe button and never miss another show. If you are watching us on Facebook, just hit the like. We are so excited. Happy New Year. This is the last show for 2020. We're going to see you over on the other side in 2021 right here, Thursday nights, 9 o'clock. Thank you, guys. Love you.
Love you, Lisa.
Bye. Bye.